And we're going live in 3, 2, 1, and we're live. This is Kathleen Gage, and today is the Wednesday Live. I have been having a blast doing these Facebook Lives, and pretty soon I'm going to graduate to a streaming platform that allows me to go directly into a number of different platforms that will stream all at once, so I don't have to manually put my information out there. But I actually started by the fact that I just wanted to get into the habit of going live on a regular basis, get comfortable with the platform. And I'll tell you, after 2 or 3 times, I got real comfortable with it and I really enjoy it. Today, what I want to talk about is I want to talk about LinkedIn. And I want to talk about some of the do's and don'ts with LinkedIn. I'm going to take you over there and show you some of the things that people are doing right, but some of the things that people are doing really wrong. First of all, what are they doing with their banner? And this is not information that I just made up. This is actually information I got from experts who they specialize in LinkedIn, like Sabrina Lee, for example. She is a specialist that works with any number of types of people, but she also focuses a lot on the vegan market. And she is one of the experts that I've gotten insights from and gotten some very, very great information. Another thing is making connections, how to make connections. I'll show you my connections, and I think I'm at about 12,000 right now. And a lot of those was early on. I got those connections early on when it was all about numbers. Now it's about quality. So that's another thing we're going to talk about. And the people that sell you something right away. Guilty as charged. I've got to tell you, early on, I made all the mistakes. But we're going back, gosh, I've been doing digital marketing since late 1990s. So we're going to 23, 24, 25 years that I've been doing digital marketing. I go way back to the days of Denise Wakeman when she was with the Blog Squad, Matt Basic, Tom Antion. These are names that you'll remember, and they're still active, but these are people that started way back when. Jim Edwards is another one. David Perdue is another one. Felicia Slattery is another one. And over the years, I have fine-tuned what I'm doing. I've learned a lot. I've learned some of the mistakes that I've made, and some some things that have been very, very effective for me. So I'm going to start by sharing my screen. And the first thing I'm going to show you is my own profile. So this is what my profile looks like. What you'll notice in my profile is I have a lot to do with the vegan business space and the plant-based business space. Here we have my friend Teresa Sam Houghton. She is actually a co-mod. We're in a mod squad for Clubhouse. Every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific, we do a plant-based room with people like Tyler Mayora. We do with Paige Parsons Roche, some amazing people. Angel is in there, the yummy vegan. But you'll notice that I actually have a lot to do with anything vegan. So that's what my thread picks up. But in looking at we'll take a look at my right here. It's going to open up, hopefully. Okay. In my banner, this is an area that a lot of people miss opportunity. In my banner, I've got, as bold as can be, vegan visibility, because I am moving more and more into working with organizations on their marketing strategies, their visibility strategies, book development, book marketing that are in the vegan and the plant-based space. And I want to be real clear about that. No need to beat around the bush. And it's interesting how many people kind of downplay that. And yet, it's because of this that I'm starting to attract that kind of business. Whatever you put a spotlight on, you're going to attract that business. Also, if you'll notice, I've got this little symbol right here. That is the symbol of veganism. Right here, I've got the little V in a circle. And then I talk about what I do. In my profile, I've got quite a bit. I've got on the about, I've got a great deal of information, and I've got my contact information, so it's easy for people to find me. Now, I want to point out, I'm going to show you some other people that are working within the vegan plant-based space, and I want you to notice some commonalities. Katrina Fox, amazing media PR person. She's got a great women's vegan group, Vivas, and it's right here, Vivas. If you are a woman in the vegan space, definitely check out Vivas. We have monthly meetings in April. I'm going to be talking about book marketing. She has experts come in every month. We have networking events, all by way of Zoom. She's in Australia. But notice she's got vegan ventures right here, vegan business media. So she's got the word vegan in several locations. Then we've got Stephanie Red Cross West, and she is a rock star. She actually has been doing vegan marketing since 2009. That's 13 years. And she is very open about being vegan. And it's amazing the number of people, again, that downplay that. They think they're going to lose business. And my feeling is it's okay to lose business because you're going to gain other business that's more aligned with what you're doing. So again, you've got Katrina, who's got the word vegan. You've got Kathleen Gage with the word vegan. You've got Stephanie with the word vegan. Matali, she actually is a book coach and a publisher, and right here she's got the word vegan and ethical, and she's got the vegan symbol here and here. So definitely putting her information out there. Now, Passion Placement, that's Bonnie and Paul, and they post a lot of jobs on Passion Placement. Well, the platform has a lot of jobs with companies that are plant-based companies, maybe a plant-based meat company. It's an ethical company. It might be a sanctuary, but it's all to do with the plant-based vegan lifestyle. So they're taking advantage of their banners. So this is what I wanted to point out. Notice the banners. These people are taking full advantage of saying what they do, whether it be through a picture or through words, right in their banner. Okay, we've got Matali, we've got Passion Placement. Elizabeth Alfano is another one, Veg Tech. Obviously, Veg Tech, that has to do with veganism. And she's the founder of Plant Powered Consulting. She's the host of Plant-Based Business Hour. So she's getting that right. So the mistake that people make is they don't use that real estate. That's the most important real estate you've got. And then let's see, let's go. Well, Sandra's another one. Let's go ahead and pull her up. And she's got the vegan symbol, vegan content writer right here. So common thread. People are identifying what industry they're with. That's one thing I would recommend. The next thing that you want to look at, another mistake that people make, is they send a whole bunch of connection requests to people they don't even know and they have no connection to. It makes no sense. And for example, you know, I get people that want to hook up not hook up, but they want to connect. And they don't give me any reason why they want to connect. The people that I actually accept their invitation from, it's right here. I accept invitations from people who put a message with their invitation. Now, right here, Carrie, Cool Planet Food, I'm assuming that she is vegan. So I would take a look at her profile and I would read a little bit about her, climate solutions. Okay, so it looks like she would be a great person to connect with. So that's one thing. Look at the people you're going to connect with before you do. Don't just accept connections, because oftentimes what happens is that people, they connect with you and then they immediately go into selling. So the next thing I wanted to point out, right here, I've got this gentleman right here. Are you looking for unique podcast guests? Well, if Phil would have read my bio, he would see that I have 2 podcast shows that are actually plant-based and vegan. And if he did a little bit of research, and I'm not putting anything on him, this is a great example. anybody who searches out my shows, if they do a little bit of homework up front, instead of throwing mud up on the wall and say, hey, I want to be on your show, say, oh, I noticed that you have a vegan visibility show and a plant-based eating, and your criteria is you look for people who are 100% void of animal and dairy. Right there, they're going to grab my attention. Right there, they're going to get through the worst gatekeeper there is, or the meanest gatekeeper, and that would be me, because I'm really particular about who I have on my show. I just did an interview with Donnie McHour, who is with Radical Foods and Superfoods. It's RDCL Superfoods. And Donnie is amazing. He's a vegan. He's plant-based. He has superfoods that are all plant-based. And we had a great conversation. That's the second time he's been on my show. I want people like him because he's got a great message for my market. The first time I had him on plant-based eating for health, then I had him on vegan visibility because we talked about business, marketing, things of that nature. So mistake number 2 is when people ask you to connect, they just send you a connection request and they don't put any kind of personal note with it. Or they just throw mud up on the wall. Hey, let's connect. Well, why? And you'll notice very few people put any kind of, I've got 73 invitations, and the ones I pay attention to first are the ones that actually put a message with their invitation, which leads to the next thing on messaging. When you are trying to connect with people on LinkedIn, don't immediately try to sell them. That is probably the worst thing that you can do. I've had people that connect with me on LinkedIn. They've sent no preliminary message and they go, yeah, I'd like to teach you how to write a book. I'm the author of 20 books. And I don't say that to be arrogant. I don't say that to be uppity or anything. I say that because if somebody would look at my profile, they would see that I'm a published author. So targeting me as a first-time author is not a good fit. You really want to make sure that who you're targeting is a fit for what your message is. The more targeted you can be, the better off you're going to be. And so I actually did something recently about the Tinder Swindler. There's a Netflix documentary that came out less than a week ago, and it was all the buzz on Twitter. It was all the buzz on Instagram, on TikTok. And this guy, the Tinder Swindler, he actually swindled women out of hundreds of thousands of dollars each, to the tune of about $30 million. It was crazy. It was $20 or $30 million. And he basically got away with it. And a lot of people were saying, oh, I would never get duped like that. And actually, I'm going to go off camera for stop the share. And they said, oh, I would never get taken by a guy like that. And I said, you're probably right, because you don't fit his profile. This guy would profile women, and he would, first of all, check their Tinder account, make sure they were a fit. Then what he would do is engage them in conversation. Then he would invite them on a date, and he just wined and dined them. And most importantly, he listened. He would ask a lot of questions on the first date, and he listened and he listened and he listened. So on that first date, he was able to gather enough information to know if they were a good target. Now, that is a good comparison to what happens when people are trying to connect with their ideal client. It's like you want to make sure that you're going where your ideal client is. You want to make sure that you're really targeting the people that are a good fit for your products and services. You want to engage them in a conversation before you ever try to sell them anything. And then if they're a fit, then you can introduce your products and services. And if they're not a fit, just move on. Or just connect with them to have collaborative relationships. I connected with a really, really wonderful woman out of Petaluma, California, who is, she teaches older job seekers how to interview for jobs. And we connected in a networking Zoom meeting that we were in. We private messaged each other. We had something in common. She gave me an introduction to somebody I've been wanting to get on my podcast show. It just worked out really well. We were both giving, and receiving. And the thing that a lot of people do on LinkedIn is they take and take and take and take, or they say what's in it for them without what can I do to serve you? So the whole point of this discussion today is really pay attention to what you're doing on LinkedIn. And again, let's go back to LinkedIn. And I'm going to show you a couple of other real simple things on your profile that are really important. So first of all, you want to use, and as you can see, again, I've got a lot to do with the vegan movement, with the plant-based movement, because that's what the algorithms pick up. Marsha Moran, amazing woman who actually had a stroke a few years ago and wrote a book called Stroke Forward. I highly recommend you get it. She's a phenomenal writer. She wrote that after she had her stroke. And her website is strokeforward.com. But you'll notice again, lots and lots and lots to do with plant-based eating, with veganism. And the other thing I'm interested in is health. Okay. So, wow, that's pretty impressive. I love it. Okay. So again, here's more on plant-based eating. Here's more on plant-based eating. Here's more on Beyond Burgers, which is plant-based meat, plant-based meals. So obviously when you have a certain interest, the algorithms pick up and send you stuff that you're definitely aligned with. But one of the things I want to point out, again, is my banner. And this is, there we go. Oops, let's close that up. Shining the spotlight on ethical, sustainable, and cruelty-free lifestyles and businesses, vegan visibility. Then I put a small description here. And then we've got the views about what I do. Okay, right there. I've got quite a bit of information there. I've got my activities. I've got 12,679 followers. I post podcast shows I've done. Christy Lagley of Rebellious Foods, amazing interview. I invite you to check that out. I've got my background. Basically, it's your online resume. Got a lot of information there. And that's something else that you really want to look at is when people connect with you, just make sure that you are aligned with what they're doing and what you're doing. And here's another one that I got recently that I thought was kind of interesting. And hopefully the person who did this might hear this and might receive it in the way I'm offering it, which this really kind of put a bad taste in my mouth. This person recommended me. She said she recommended me. And actually what she did is she clicked on a skill that I have. I don't recall meeting this person. And she said, I recommended you. And as a favor for doing that, would you take the short survey? And I thought, usually when people recommend, it's because they really like the services that you've given or the products or whatever it may be. And I thought, okay, I'll go ahead and do that. And really didn't want to, but I thought, okay, I'll go ahead and do it. And I started the survey, and it turns out it was for an industry that has nothing to do with what I do. I'm not interested in that industry. And within the first question, I backed out of the survey. Next thing I know, I've been put on a mailing list and I'm already getting emails. So I actually unsubscribed from the mailing list, and it had an area where it said, why are you unsubscribing? You know, what's the reason? And I said, I was filling out a survey. It wasn't a match. I backed out and I got put on your list anyway. And I really don't appreciate that because we are in such information overload these days that we don't need to be put on lists that we have no interest in. It's not a numbers game anymore. It's a quality game. And yet I do know if you're looking for sponsors for your podcast show or your Instagram channel or your YouTube channel, I do know numbers are important. But for the most part, for most people who aren't going to be getting sponsors, it's really about quality relationships. And then I got a message from this woman again who said, you know, you might want to recommend people. And I said, actually, I have. I've actual recommendations, not just clicking a skill they have, actual recommendations. I've done 80. And these are people I know, people I've done business with, I've collaborated with, and these are real recommendations. And I really think she wanted me to recommend her, and I couldn't because I've never done business with her. And I will tell people who ask me to recommend them that I've never done business with, that's not my business practice. When I recommend somebody, it's because I really do recommend that person. Anyway, we have been on the air. This is Kathleen Gage, and I am with Vegan Visibility. I want to thank you for your time and attention. I've gone a little longer than I anticipated, but I think this is a very important topic. And be watching for my live tomorrow. Oh, another thing, I'm going to just put it out there, and I'm going to draw my line in the sand and say we are starting next week. I'm going to be doing Clubhouse 2 days a week. I'm going to be doing it on Mondays and Wednesdays, and the time will be determined. I'll be sending a message out on that, but I'm going to be interviewing people within the vegan space who run vegan businesses. We're going to have conversations. We're going to invite people up to the stage. We're going to let them ask questions, share their best practices, and it's really going to be leaning towards people who are in the vegan niche and they're growing their business. They've grown a multi-million-dollar business. They want to share their strategies. Maybe they're an author and they're going to share book marketing strategies. I'm going to share strategies about the speaking industry because I've done a lot of speaking. I've been a professional speaker for 28 years. And actually one of the areas that I want to get back involved with is speaking at associations. So I'm actually looking for those opportunities within food manufacturers that do have a good foothold in the plant-based market. It could be the pet industry where they really focus on compassionate living with animals, could be sanctuaries, but I am really retooling a lot of what I'm doing. So you'll be hearing more about that. And part of it is these lives. These lives have been part of my master plan of really getting out there, getting out of my comfort zone, because if you're not out of your comfort zone, you're going to get too comfortable where you're at. And nowadays we can't afford to do that. Really what it is just have fun at what you're doing. Go out, play the biggest game possible, really put your message out so people can identify it. I know that when somebody says they want to write a book, I refer them over to Matali. She is the vegan publisher. I send them right over there because I know that she's going to take really good care of them. If it's somebody who needs good media coverage, I send them over to Katrina Fox because I know she is the person that can handle that kind of a project to get people some visibility and either consult with them, advise them, or actually do the whole project and bring her team on board. So if it's LinkedIn, Sabrina Lee's the person I refer people to. So I encourage you to really look at who your circle of influence is. I encourage you to look at how you're utilizing platforms like LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is definitely a platform that has a lot of value. I had somebody tag a post I did today, and they tagged Eric Adams, who is the mayor of New York City, who is plant-based, with a post that I did about rebellious foods. And it's just amazing how quickly it will snowball. This is Kathleen Gage, wishing you a great day and encouraging you, get out there, do what you're here to do, play the biggest game possible, and be compassionate to the environment, the animals, and most of all, yourself. Have a great day.